Imagine your grandma is spending her last day in the hospital with little to no visitation due to COVID regulations. Imagine you and your family are sleeping in your cars in the hospital parking lot, taking shifts visiting one by one. Who's greeting you with a cup of coffee and updating you on the hour that you missed? Who's walking in and clearing codes, putting on a smile to show you that everything's okay and not let you know that her oxygen just dropped and her heart rate just slowed drastically? This is a true story, and for some, it was their reality not long ago. For me, I witnessed this day as I was the staff walking in, fixing the breathing tubes, and reassuring the family that we're doing all we can to make her comfortable and safe. I saw that this job took a caring heart and a gracious attitude. When you take the time to care for the needs in your community and you practice radical listening, a natural concern for others will radiate out of your character. By the end of this speech, you will not only know how to show concern for others and have applicable ways of doing so, but have realistic ways to show immediate relief in your community. The first step of understanding that is to talk about what concern for others really is. Concern for others can look like sacrificing your time, comfort, and some activities. As a patient safety attendant or a PSA, you will always have a choice of schedule. But after a few shifts, the encouragement that you can show and the great help that you are will make it easy to trade some activities for a more important purpose. My biggest sacrifice was time with my daughter. Living 6 hours away from where we work meant that I had to plan a whole road trip plus childcare for 6 to 8 shifts and then drive home exhausted. So many people stepped up to care for my daughter, and this gave me the option of free, trustworthy childcare. That was a huge blessing because in that state, the annual cost for childcare is $7,000. You can find the annual cost for your own state at the Economic Policy Institute. So many people care for you, and they want to help if you just ask. Concern for others can also look like caring for each patient despite the condition they're in or what background they come from. In the ER, I can't tell you how many drug cases there are. Patients come in violent or in restraints, spewing empty insults all the time. Humor is another great way to deal with a difficult patient. I can't tell you how many times unit staff has bonded over one difficult patient or celebrated when they are finally discharged, healthy, and get to go home. Now that you know what concern for others is and have some applicable ways to fit them into your life, let's see it put into practice with a skill called radical listening. My very first shift as a PSA, I sat with a patient that had Alzheimer's. Most Alzheimer's patients don't know that their memory is deteriorating. As we talked about her life and her interests, she briefly mentioned her living situation and how unsafe it was. We went on to talk about other topics, but I tucked that into the back of my mind just in case it would need to be brought up again. A few hours later, and I was walking back from my lunch break, when a nurse informed me that the patient was on a phone call with the said person she lived with and wanted to be released to him in the morning. I quickly explained her living situation, monitored the phone call, and a caseworker came in the morning to talk to her about safe living options. Had I not been there, we would have released her into an unsafe situation. Having someone there with her throughout the night quite possibly saved her life. I instantly saw the value in this job, and I took on more hours for that month. Radical listening can be used for more than someone talking directly to you. How about in the behavioral health unit? Can you keep one conversation going while listening in on another conversation with someone and themselves? Think of all the different personalities that you will meet on a busy Friday night. Many of you have these skills and have practiced them in your daily lives. There are hundreds of positions out there looking for your exact skills and abilities. These opportunities are right at your fingertips. Each one of you could name at least one hospital you live by. It's so easy to Google a phone number, download an application. The worst they say is no, so why not give it a try? You have CNAs, kitchen staff, PSAs, PSA techs, which are patient safety attendants who have completed a course to be certified in medical equipment. Regis College has a degree for clinical nurse leaders. This is a relatively new degree just introduced to the program in 2007, according to the American Association of Colleges of Nursing. Clinical nurse leaders have the same capabilities as a registered nurse, but they focus more on supervising and coordinating the care rather than carrying out the daily tasks. Lastly, just ask. Ask someone you know that works in the medical field. According to the American Hospital Association, over 2,000 jobs, hospital-related, were released to the workforce in just February of this year. I want to leave you with a quote from the National Nurses United on a safe staffing article. But before I do, I want you to think to yourself, would you want this to describe you? To be a nurse is to watch for subtle changes and to attend to tiny details. It is a job that requires endless stamina, an iron will, and the time to get it right. When we focus on the needs of the community and we take that time to practice radical listening, that natural concern for others will radiate from your character. When you turn your attention from social media and to your community, you will begin to see the needs you can meet, the lives you can touch, and the concern that you can show. Ask someone or Google low nurse-to-patient ratios to see for yourself. Most of you have what it takes. You just need to convince yourself you do have the iron will, because we all know that we make a choice to take the time to make things right. Thank you.